Good afternoon, morning, evening, whatever it is.
YouTube.
And welcome to Champ Chatter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, we're a little lean today. It's just Jordan, myself, and Dr. Pappas.
Yeah.
So,
The Brocast. Yeah.
everybody else couldn't make it because they had better things, quote unquote, to do.
Yeah. Obligations and whatnot.
Yeah, you know, that's important. That's important.
Yeah. So, in regards to what's going on at SEC this upcoming week, 2 weeks actually, my fault. The SEC Multicultural Club Lunar New Year celebration that's going to be in the gym from 5 to 7 p.m. on Monday, March 6th, 2023. It will be much like the Thanksgiving dinner, from what I'm assuming, if for those that went to that.
Yeah. Just make sure that you get there. Just make sure you get there early. Otherwise, all the food will be gone.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, man, I should go do that and get some free food. And then I realized that I got there like 10 minutes or 20 minutes too late, and the food was all gone.
Thanksgiving?
No, the last Lunar New Year
Lunar
one.
Year. Oh.
Yeah.
I was like,
pretty
man,
popular.
that's crazy. But
don't
that gym was packed.
I
It
didn't know
was
Slim
full of
Pickens
people.
like that. Wow. But yeah, get there early. You heard it here first.
Yes, sir.
Entertainment and games will be provided, and please bring a dish of food to share if you got one. It's like a potluck, I'm guessing.
Yeah.
Other than that, there's also going to be a PTK fundraiser that some guy ran. I heard he's pretty cool, but he sorted it all out.
Mm.
He's a VP of fundraising.
Mm.
Anyway, it's going to be at Buffalo Wild Wings March 8th from 5 to 9. There's going to be tickets being passed out by that individual. And he is, if you bring in those tickets and use it towards your ticket at B-Dubs, either online, to go, or in dine-in, we will earn 15% of that. And that will go towards our fundraiser towards our trip to Ohio.
Nice.
Mm.
Nice.
So yeah, if y'all can show up to that, that would be much appreciated.
Are you handing those things out beforehand as well?
Yes.
Okay, where do we get a hold of those?
Just find me.
Find
me
find
or-
Jordan.
Or Carlene Woodside
Okay.
and other PTK members. We're still getting the tickets as I speak right now.
Okay.
So
Cool.
yeah,
So what are you guys doing in Ohio that you're fundraising for?
it's the PTK Catalyst event, which is like the
Oh.
national, like all the PTK people go pull up over there
Yeah.
and party. No, I'm just kidding. I don't know. But it's gonna be
like
in
a-
Columbus, Ohio.
Mm-hmm.
Isn't it like
It's a
a
national event.
Isn't it like a large business meeting more than a party?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Is it at
Yeah.
the convention center in Columbus, downtown?
I believe so.
Mm.
been
Columbus
there?
that's where my whole family's from.
Really?
Ah.
Oh yeah,
I thought they're from Germany.
I go there all the time.
You heard it. You
Well,
heard it.
originally from Columbus.
Oh.
You heard it here
More
first,
Pappas lore.
folks.
Columbus is. I lived there from 2009 until 2011
Oh,
with Elizabeth. We got married in Columbus and lived there for a couple years.
really?
Yeah.
Very nice.
That's dope.
It's a cool place. Really cool.
Wow.
Yeah.
How far is that from Cleveland?
Just a couple hours.
Okay.
Yeah, Cleveland's north.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of conventions, I was at a work meeting last night, and my boss Logan from It's Electric Entertainment. He
Shout out to Logan.
yeah, shout out to Logan. He's one of our avid listeners. He tunes in for every episode. So
Mhm.
shout out to him.
Yeah.
He's the greatest boss ever. And he invited all of us DJs to come with him to Wisconsin for the Midwest Convention of DJs.
Oh wow!
Whoa.
So I'm definitely going to be doing that.
Wow.
When is that?
It's April 26th
Cool.
to
Okay.
the 28th.
Right when it gets warm. That's good.
Yeah, it'll be nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to that.
Word.
It'll be an awesome learning experiment.
I
Pick
didn't
up
know
some
that
new-
was a thing.
Pick up some new scratch techniques.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I haven't made it to the record scratch stage, but honing my craft for
Yeah.
sure.
That would probably be more like a party.
So it's like a convention, right?
Yeah.
So you sort of walk around the convention hall. I assume, and like people have panels in like the smaller side rooms where they will do like a lecture or a Q&A and talk about some techniques they do, what they've learned, etc.
I bet there's
So-
going to be some gear vendors.
Oh yeah, there's definitely going to be gear vendors.
Yeah,
there,
leave your
too.
wallet at the hotel. It's dangerous.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, gotta be careful.
I don't even have to leave my wallet at the hotel because I can't buy any of the stuff anyways.
Oh, shoot. That'll come in handy, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, it'll be a great experience. I hope to learn a lot from it.
Mm-hmm.
For
Sounds
sure.
cool.
Yes, indeed.
All right, let's see what y'all got for me to listen to this week.
All right.
Our theme is instrumental music.
Yeah.
Yep.
First up,
Instrumental.
Aaron, what is this?
So this song is Birdman from the game Pilot Wing 64.
Did you give me the music in B flat or C, the one that you put in my?
It's in B flat.
Okay, I didn't know if I was supposed to try and read that or if that was the C.
No, that's the B flat.
Yeah. Okay. I listened. It's tricky.
Yeah.
This
Well,
song?
So we'll see if we can pull it off today.
Well, it'll be good.
We should try it.
Yeah.
I'm excited to hear it.
Yeah, it's a really good song.
Yeah.
And it's a really good arrangement. The arrangement is done by Charlie Rosen, and he is one of the best in the business. He actually won a Grammy for one of his arrangements of another soundtrack called Meta Knight's Revenge from Kirby.
Oh,
Yeah, it's like a jazz fusion
I didn't know he
arrangement.
made that. Dude,
Yeah.
that soundtrack is
Yeah.
fire. That's
It's
on
really-
the Kirby Superstar, right?
Well, he didn't make it, but he did an arrangement of it that's like live jazz fusion. That's really amazing.
Did they put that in Smash Brothers by chance?
They did not. They did not put that arrangement in, but the original is in Super Smash Bros.
Okay, I thought he did that one.
Yeah.
That soundtrack is fire. I didn't even think about Kirby.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's check
hear
it
it.
out.
Yeah. The instrument that you are hearing right now is the iwi.
The what?
The iwi. It's an electric woodwind instrument.
The Iwi.
Yeah.
Can
That's
we listen
cool
to the
stuff.
rest of it?
Huh?
Can we listen to the rest of that?
Yeah. Turn it back up.
I was
Sure.
on a time crunch, but wow, that was a really good song.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
Super underrated video game and super underrated soundtrack for sure.
Yeah, I've heard of that game, but I never played it.
Yeah, it's worth it. It's a little smaller. It's like Wii Sports, sort of, like pre Wii Sports, but like it's a fun game.
Okay. I'll check it out.
Yes,
Yeah,
sir.
cool.
All right, next up, Pappas, what do you got?
All right, so I picked a song from the movie AI, Artificial Intelligence. Great film. If you haven't seen it, it's amazing. It's John Williams. Can't go wrong. But the reason I like this is because in music today, I think the main thing that we've lost because we've gone away from instrumental stuff is melody and the ability to write melody. And this just has a great melody. It's so simple, but it has such a beautiful melody. I think this is one of the pieces that made me want to write music. So it's been very inspirational to me.
Wow. I'm excited to hear this now.
Yeah.
So the piano, when it comes in, is the I mean, it's brilliant in its simplicity.
Yeah. I like the
I don't know what to say.
modulation
Mm-hmm.
for all of it, like the intro and then like the modal
Yeah.
modal change towards the end of that phrase. That was really cool.
I mean,
Nice
we're-
music production vocabulary.
Well,
It's
Aaron
music
and I-
theory vocabulary.
Yeah, Aaron and I have been talking about, focal point within one phrase. This is such a great example. He has
Mhm.
one high note in that entire first phrase, and that's why it works. But today, people don't understand the technique of good music writing.
Mm-hmm.
What he's using, the methods that he's using, come all the way from like the late Renaissance era. I mean, this is knowledge that's been around for a long time that we just don't care about,
Yeah.
and that's why all music just sounds horrible. The
Mhm.
melody.
Mhm.
Other elements of music have improved, I think, like rhythm and stuff like that. But melody has just, it's like the most crucial element, but nobody spends any time on. But when you hear a good one, you know it.
I agree.
And that wasn't like difficult or complex. He just followed some very basic rules. But yeah, and it's also just
Accomplished it.
beautiful. I mean,
John Williams. It's
Yeah,
it's
I mean,
hard
he's
to
brilliant.
it's hard to beat John Williams.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, hard to beat.
Yeah.
All right,
All right,
what
you
Jordan?
got, Jordan?
Excuse me. I got Avengers Infinity War. No, I'm just kidding. I got the Brainstar theme from Super Metroid.
Yeah.
Like a 10 out of 10 game. I know that phrase is used a lot, but that game is really perfect. I grew up on it. I remember watching my dad like speed run it. Not really speed run it, but he still remembered like where everything was and
Mhm.
how to beat it
Mm-hmm.
from when he played as a kid. So I would watch him, and then now I play it when I got older. Anyway, this song is really good. It's like essentially like the main theme of it, and check it out. Yeah, that brought back memories.
It sounds almost like you could make a trap beat out of that.
That's
Yeah.
funny you say that because I was reminded of this song because of a rapper named Baby Keem. He actually sampled this in one of his
Mm.
beats, and
Mhm.
it's pretty good. I think the song's called Gang Activities, but he uses it really well.
Mm.
But other than that, as you could tell, the song was like progressively, like getting progressive.
Yeah.
And it's really cool because in the video game, when you in the certain area of the map, the more like the further you get to the boss, like each room, the sound like progresses more
Mm.
and more.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I think Teenage Engineering has a pocket operator that uses the sounds from that.
real?
Yeah.
It's a little mini synth.
I don't know what that is.
It's just a little mini synth that you can hold in your hands
Oh.
that
It
takes
looks-
all those sounds so you can make something new music using the same sounds.
Okay.
And it looks like a little calculator.
Yeah, it looks like a calculator.
Word. Okay.
So it's popular is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah. It's a good video game.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's it for the soundtrack this week.
Dang.
All right,
It's
I
over
got your
already?
I got your questions for today.
Oh boy.
All right, so there's been
Drop
a lot
some
of
wisdom on us.
discussion amongst faculty recently about Chat GPT
Using
and
AI.
the idea of like how prevalent it is, if students are already using it, if
Chat
they're
GPT.
aware of it or not. So first, do you know what it is?
Yeah, it's a learning AI that you type in what you want it to do, and it will attempt to do what you tell it to do.
Okay.
I have no idea
Two
what that
two varying degrees of success. It sort of depends on what you can ask it. If it's
Have
about
you yourself made an account
no,
and have you used it?
no.
No,
Okay.
because I don't know what it is.
Okay. So
Yeah.
I have an account.
Okay.
I use it.
Okay.
What do you use
It's
it
not
for?
popular, I'm assuming, yet. But so the question is, should this be something that students are allowed to use because of the power that it has? So
It's called
it's
Chat GPT.
Chat GPT.
It's an
Make
app?
yourself an account. It's an app, but it's also something you can pull up on a browser.
Okay.
Make yourself an account and start playing with it. Now know that, it'll tempt you to do things and take shortcuts that maybe you shouldn't, but that's the whole ethical question. We're not going to get into
Right.
that necessarily. But for example, I asked it today, write a short paragraph of the importance of jazz. And it spit out a perfect paragraph. Jazz is a highly significant musical genre that emerged in the late 19th and early 20th century. It's had a profound impact on music and culture. Blah, 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 blah. Perfect answer.
Maybe, I think
Then
just hear about this now.
Then I added for young people. And
Mhm.
it said, for young people, jazz can provide a valuable opportunity to explore different styles of music and expand their musical horizons. Jazz can help young people develop their creativity and improvisational skills as well as their ability to collaborate, blah, 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 blah.
What?
Perfect answer.
It said all that?
Then
Yeah.
I said,
No,
as
it's-
it relates
it's
to
terrifying.
social isolation. Jazz can also serve as a powerful tool to combat social isolation. Playing jazz music with others in a group or ensemble can provide a sense of community and belonging, and so on. Then I said, how about empathetic listening? And it gave me a nice empathetic listening is a critical component of effective communication and can greatly improve our relationships with others. It involves listening to someone with the intent to understand their perspective and feelings rather than just waiting for our turn to speak and blah, 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 and so on.
Dude.
Then I said,
what?
how does jazz teach empathetic listening? And it spit out a perfect combination of why young people should be engaged with jazz because it helps with empathetic listening. So you could see the power of this in the hands of somebody who has some knowledge of what they're looking for. So for me, if I'm doing grant writing or if I'm trying to convince people that they should invest themselves in what we're doing, this saves me a lot of time.
Yeah.
Now, I inherently do know this, so when I'm looking at it and reading through it, I can assess its validity.
Right.
But even if I didn't, what it did for me just early, I just did it right before we started. All of that information is correct. I agree with all of it. It's exactly what I would say, but I didn't have to write it.
Wow.
Yeah, it's powerful. It's terrifying. I've seen a few people online sort of experiment with it, and once again, Logan last night was telling me about how he used it to make one of our social media posts for the company.
Yeah.
And I was like, I didn't even notice.
Right. You don't
And
notice.
yeah, because, well, I mean, obviously they posted it, but still, it read like something that a professional company who has vetted
Mhm.
like posts like that would say.
Mm-hmm.
I also watched a video by YouTuber Charles Cornell. He's a jazz pianist.
Right.
He asked ChatGPT to write him a jazz chord progression, and it wrote him a chord progression.
Yeah, I saw that one too.
Yeah, it wasn't
What?
it wasn't amazing, and I don't believe it was functionally jazz, but it was interesting to see it try and do that.
Well, so my question for you guys is, do you think, well, first, what the faculty are most concerned with, I think, is the fact that
Cheating.
you will use this as a shortcut for your
On
writing.
essays.
You know,
That's the first thing I thought of too.
because you
Yeah.
can say, so let's say you get an assignment. Do you have a writing assignment? Does anybody have an assignment?
Let me think. Yes, for my leadership class, it was like
Okay, what's your assignment?
I
Do
don't
you have a
think
paper that you have to write?
I don't think I have any
Is
currently.
there a discussion board question that you
Oh,
can think
I
of?
got one.
Oh,
In
yeah.
my literature class, I had to write a compare and contrast between a film and
Okay, hold on.
its original adaptation.
Compare.
Hey, you could put in the discussion post for for Jazz
All right, compare and
appreciation.
contrast what?
The
What
short
movie?
story, The Wisdom of Eve. I forgot the author, and the film it was adapted to all about Eve. But I had to use film elements. But
It's
for
the
sake
Wisdom of Eve, or what?
the Wisdom of Eve. Shout out to Professor Berm. Yeah, when you mentioned typing in something, it giving you a paragraph back. That's the first thing I thought of.
How many pages do you need?
1,000 words, so about 4 or 5. That's 4.
Okay. So I said compare and contrast the short story, The Wisdom of Eve, and the film, 1,000 words. It's thinking about it right now. Might take it a second.
What?
Okay, it's going to compare us with a brief comparison and contrast.
I was going to say my leadership class, but a lot of those are personal questions.
The Wisdom of Eve and its film adaptation, all about Eve, which I didn't even tell it.
What?
I didn't tell it was the
You
film.
didn't type it in?
Nope.
Oh my gosh.
It knows. The Wisdom of Eve is a short story by Mary Orr that was published
Oh,
in
yeah.
Cosmopolitan magazine in 1946. It tells a story of Eve Harrington, a young woman who,
Yeah.
it's writing it right now.
That's the character's name.
Jeez.
Yeah.
So there's your assignment.
Wow.
It's done.
Don't
All
tell-
right,
don't
and what
write-
was the
don't-
what was the
Well,
Don't tell Berm.
okay, so I guess long term, if writing can be done by a new tool, is it necessary for you to learn skills for which you now have a tool that can take care of it for you? Think of other things that you do
That
that
the
you no
way-
longer learn. Do you learn how to read maps? Do you go and find a map and figure out how you're going to get somewhere and then use the GPS as well?
The thing I initially thought of when you first told me about this app was the calculator. Because I had
Yes.
a lot of professors, older professors, telling me, like, oh, we had to do this math by
Right.
hand back in the day, but now everything's on the calculator.
Should you know how to do math by hand that you can do on a calculator? Should you learn how to handwrite if you're really just going to end up typing for the rest of your life? I mean, these are the questions I want you to like. What do you think? I don't want to steer you any way,
Right.
so I really just want your opinion.
This is a difficult one because there really isn't a right answer. I think both sides are defensible. If the point of a reading assignment is usually to get you thinking critically about the topic that you're reading about. No matter what, you're trying to learn what is being assigned to you. So if you have something that does that for you, then you lose the necessity of the reading, right? Unless it's so highly specific that the AI can't find it, and even then, what's the chances of that? I don't think that we should stop doing reading assignments. I think it just needs to be formatted differently. I'm not sure how that looks or what that is at that point, but the idea is to continue to have that critical thinking ability while not losing out on like the nuances and keeping all that by having something else do your work for you. Because learning critically about that sort of thing is the important thing, and that is what you are paying for, that is why you are attending, et cetera, et cetera. If you just have the AI do the work for you, then it's not worth it.
Yeah. My personal opinion, I agree that I can't really choose a side of what it is, but I see it as like pros and cons. The pros, obviously, that it makes doing assignments or doing speeches easy. Like if I need a speech with tomorrow, I can just type in my main ideas, bam, it's already done, rather than having to sit on it and think about it all night long or whatever. I think that'll be a vital like tool to use in the future. However, the cons, in my opinion, the cons outweigh the pros. Nothing, when you use that app, nothing is organic. It doesn't come from you. So now how you're saying about how your boss would use that for his Instagram post, I was just thinking about now what other posts am I looking at, or what other speeches am I listening to, other things am I reading? Is this them saying that, or do they just chat GPT it? So it's hard
Well-
for me to see if people are being sincere now.
Well, that's
in
the thing.
future.
Yeah, the sincere is a good word. So my issue with it is it dishonest in a sincerity sense?
Yes.
But
Yeah.
if it helps with my job, which I'm also responsible for in some way, which one is more right? Am I super sincere and take forever to complete something that could be completed very quickly for me, and then that costs me crucial funding that I'm asking for, that then would help what I'm really trying to do, which is help other people?
Mhm.
Like, there's so many layers to this. I'm somebody who embraces technology, and I love anything that's new that has potential. But yeah, I mean, should you be afraid of it? Do you want to start using it? And then who's to tell you what's the ethical use of it?
I just found out about it today, and I have all these. I have all these.
Yeah,
thoughts.
he
I'm
has
like,
all the
"Jeez."
ideas.
Yeah.
I think that I would like to start using it, but at the same time, it's also terrifying
Yeah.
because of all of the things that it could start making obsolete.
Well, that's so. I'm glad you brought that up, because that's where
The
I
art.
think we need to maybe completely rethink the model of education. Because if writing in that way as a craft is no longer necessary, the things that you learn through writing, which is what you guys were talking about, the idea of critically thinking about things and synthesizing information, maybe we should emphasize that, but in a context that is not the craft of writing, since the craft of writing now can be taken care of for us. And, there'll be older people who would say, well, you don't have a sense of direction because you never learned how to read a map.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that might be right, but I'm sorry, that's gone.
Yeah, sorry.
We're
yeah,
beyond
sorry, I
that.
don't have a good idea of how to solve every math equation. I have a calculator in my pocket that
Correct.
does it for me.
Exactly.
So that allows you to focus your efforts on something else, as long as you replace what is learned in the process somewhere along the line.
Right.
Yeah.
So maybe you don't take a writing class anymore. Maybe you only take a creative writing class.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like
Like something you can't fake and type into a machine.
something that is human,
Right.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Ask ChatGPT to write you a basic fictional synopsis.
Yeah, it will.
Or like a basic fictional story set in a high fantasy setting about elves and dwarves and stuff,
Mhm.
and it'll just play Mad Libs with all of those tropes.
Right.
And even then, it'll probably have some sort of coherent thing going on, and even then, that's creative writing out the window too.
Right.
Damn.
Well, people are
They got that
making
piece
movie
covered.
scores and TV
Yeah,
scripts right
exactly.
now that are being turned into actual products because they don't have to hire writers.
Wow.
Yeah,
And
it's crazy.
So I think if I want to, like, my end thought to this conversation, this is an open-ended conversation. We should talk about this again after you guys have tried it a little bit.
Yeah, for sure.
But the idea that, the only way that this tool can be used in a way that's helpful is if we as human beings set a certain standard for things that we consume.
Yes.
Absolutely.
And I think that's where the issue lies, is we don't have a standard anymore.
No.
So we don't have a standard for music, we don't have a standard for art, we don't have a standard for film, for TV. We just consume generic crap. And that's why this stuff can work. If we had a higher standard, perhaps we wouldn't misuse this great new tool
Absolutely.
to replace what makes us human.
You hit
Right.
the nail on the head right there.
So I think it's really us. We're responsible.
Mm-hmm.
And you're 100% right.
And
Uh,
I'm included.
yeah.
Last night I put on a TV show while I worked. I didn't even pay attention to what was going on. So did it matter that it was written by a human? No, not at all. I just consumed it.
Wow. Yeah, I still think it's crazy that within this short of time span,
Yeah.
we go from iPhone apps, which are just like a thing, like the gun simulator or whatever on your,
Oh, yeah.
on your iPhone that just
I
you
remember
click
that.
it, you push the screen and it does the noise.
Yeah.
Or like the bottle of liquid that is just stimulating like liquid dynamics when you
Yeah.
tip it backwards.
Or the bruh button.
Yeah, or the bruh button. And now we have something that could code an app like that.
Yeah, exactly.
Completely from scratch
Yeah.
and tell you, here's how it works.
Yeah.
That just blows my mind.
It's
I'll
definitely gonna.
It's been less than like 15 years.
This is definitely gonna snowball in the future. It's just gonna take over. Really, I'm surprised it's so. I'm surprised I hadn't heard of.
Well,
about
there's
it up
another
to this
app that
point.
you guys should check out. I forget what it's called, but it's an AI note-taking app. Basically, you just set your phone down in class,
record.
and it will record, transcribe, and then give you perfectly taken notes, but with bullet points of what it susses out as the important information, with links to further research and sources. So if you want to fact check your teacher now, you can, because
Holy
it
crap.
uses the Chat GPT AI, plus it listens and then decides what's important and organizes it for you and everything. You don't have to do anything.
That is
Dude.
crazy.
I've tried that the other day and I was like blown away.
You used that to like check your own lecture.
I did.
That's,
Yeah.
That's and,
But see, I think-
and what did you think? Like, was it correct in its?
Well,
like,
you know what I
assumptions?
don't do anymore in class, actually, because of some of this stuff, is I don't list facts. I don't care about facts in that sense. I'll always say, okay, somebody Google this date. Okay, that's the date. Because I know it's at your fingertips. So for me to necessarily remember all of that information is
Yeah.
less crucial. The part that I bring to the table is synthesizing the information and getting you to understand engaging more with the music. That's why in our jazz class we spend so much time listening.
Yeah.
It's because that's something you can't factually get somewhere else. You have to actually, that's the value that I bring. I think every teacher needs to now think and rethink the value they bring. If all they're doing is spitting out facts, that's no value anymore.
Yeah.
What
Yeah.
are you doing with those facts and how are you making those relate to your student today? That is what you should focus your efforts on.
So that's something I remember when I first came to SCC for orientation after I had set up all my classes and everything. There was this panel of a few teachers that we went into like a break-off room essentially. And they were like, all right, well, we're going to talk about what we do and stuff, and then you're going to ask us some questions. And I'm like, what is it specifically that each of you individually brings to the table?
Yeah.
And
You said that?
yeah, no,
That's what's up.
I
That's a great
genuinely
question.
said
Great
that.
question. Yeah.
I said it in a way that isn't like, well,
Condescending.
well,
Right.
you guys are worthless.
Right.
You don't
No.
do anything. I said it in a way that is like, what is it that your teaching style does that makes you unique from another teacher
Mm-hmm.
that would be not quite as good as you?
Mm-hmm.
And I don't remember who else was on the panel. I think I remember Dr. Moffat was there, and I remember Polly was there.
Mm-hmm.
You were there?
No.
No, he wasn't there. But yeah, and Dr. Moffat's like, well, I have a unique background in the field that I'm studying in. I've lived overseas. I've worked for many historical societies and stuff like that. And
Is he a history teacher?
yeah,
Okay.
he's really cool.
Mm-hmm.
He's the guy who's walking around in the hat most of the time.
Oh, that guy.
Really
Okay.
cool guy, really smart guy,
Very
and
smart.
plus he brings in like historical.
Props.
I wouldn't say
Well, not
yeah
props.
props, but more like recreations because
Mhm.
the swords that he brings in are actually sharp.
Yeah.
The armor that he brings in is to scale, accurate to the decade, made the way that they would have made it, and I think that is really interesting.
Yeah.
I can't remember what Polly said, but I also haven't had Polly, so I mean, if you've had Polly, comment in the comments below and tell us what makes Polly unique.
I think as long as your instructor is thinking about what they're doing and being intentional about it. And I think
Being
that's something that lacks.
receptive.
So, you know, people talk about the value of college, or why should you go to college? You can get this information elsewhere. You're right. And if you can find that information elsewhere or somebody else that can help, that's great. But the value of college is really the faculty who are thinking about how to relate the information to you in a way that sticks and is impactful and transformative. And not just, I relay this information.
Mm-hmm.
If that's all you do, then you should be replaced by a robot.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a fair
Damn.
point.
No, that just sounded funny the way you said it, but it's true.
Because we have robots now that can do that. So, you know, now that's a real thing.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
So what you're saying is, high school teachers can be replaced by robots.
Well, I
Damn,
would say the difference between high school and college teaching is high school is spoon feeding you information that you could find somewhere else. This
So
is
you can pass
bad
the
high
test.
school teachers.
Yeah, no, I've had my fair share
Right.
of bad high school
And I
teachers.
think in college, my efforts that I make is I want you to find the information and then bring it back to me, and then we engage and we talk about it, and so like the way I structure our class, the jazz class, is you
Yeah.
guys go read, you make notes, you try to synthesize the information, you ask a couple questions, and then when we get together, our discussion is based on a mutual knowledge base as a jumping off point. It's not about the knowledge base. What value do I bring if I tell you what's in a book that you can read yourself? You're adults. You have the reading comprehension at that point. But not all teachers think that way, is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, and plus that reading informs your other assignments too.
Yes.
Like if you're doing the reading and you're understanding what you're looking for, then when you submit your discussion questions, then you're going, or your answers to the discussion question, then you're going to have a more nuanced understanding.
Right.
And if you do that and you have read, then you know what music to look for, so
Right.
you can appreciate
Right.
the cream of the crop that's risen,
Exactly.
and you can see all the good music and
Right.
maybe lose some of that less impressive stuff.
Exactly. All right, well, we got to wrap it up. I got to go teach a class. Speaking
Alrighty.
of teaching.
All right. That was a
All right, good
That
discussion.
was a-
Thanks, gentlemen.
Deep episode.
for
Thank you.
a program I had no idea about. That was really wow.
It's good to know what you think. I'm always interested.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Good to see your insight as well. All right. Let's get out of here. What was it called again? Chat GPT? Okay. About to download it. Bye.